called Dwell Uganda. And this is just like a little bit about what they do. So they're based in a town called Jinja in Uganda, and they primarily work in a little village called Walukuba. Walukuba is a really special village with people who just need a lot of help right now. So what Dwell does is they focus on refurbishing houses that are up to living standards for these families in this little village. The lady who runs Dwell, her name is Lori Mary. She is just a wonderful lady. We've known her for a super long time. I'm best friends with her. Her brother is one of my best friends, and we're super close. And she's spent her adult life being a missionary in Uganda with her husband and family. And around COVID, she decided that she just felt a need to create this nonprofit, and she saw a need for these families to just live in safer homes. So she created Dwell, and she has assembled just the best team in Uganda that work for her and alongside her to help her, just meet these needs of these families. Last year, she created an internship through Dwell for young adult college kids to go and experience just the culture down there and what they do. And just have a really cool experience. So that's kind of how I heard about it. I've known it for a long time. Like my grandma said, I've always wanted to go because of my great-grandparents. So these are just some pictures. The picture, that's all 10 of us that were there. So there were 10 of us interns. And then the other two pictures are us in the village in Walukuba. So that's just a picture of us walking around, and then the last slide is we were having like a little meeting with the Walukuba community members. So while we were there for the month, we did a lot of work in Walukuba for Dwell. Obviously, none of us interns none of us were certified to build homes. So I wasn't there with building anything. But we were able to just spend a lot of time with the community members and able to just do other things for them that they were super excited for. And so that top picture is me, and then we now are the interns, and then Shepard, he's right here. We're with one of the Dwell team members, his name is Sam. And this day we went, one of the village members, Patrick, he has a garden. So we went to his garden, and we all got plants, and then we got split up, and we went to different homes, and we helped them make a little garden in their backyard for them. And then the next slide is us. One day we had Bibles. We had Bibles in English and Bibles in Ugandan, which is the language that they speak. And we went to different homes, and we passed out Bibles, and we just were able to sit with them and pray with them and just hear about them and kind of be able to connect with them on a deeper level, which was super special. And then this picture on the far side, we went to one of the homes. His name is Peter. Dwell did his house last year. They finished it. But this year we went back and we did things like we planted grass, we painted his bathroom. We just made it kind of pretty and fun looking, and it was such a fun day. We were able to eat lunch there with them, and then that's just a picture of us praying. So we were able to do a lot of different work throughout the month with them. We just spent lots of time with them, and it was just my favorite. It was super fun. When we also were there, once a week we'd go to a different ministry. Miss Mandy would send us to a different ministry just to learn about other things and in another part of Uganda. So the first one is Heal Ministries that we went to. And Heal Ministries is it's a school for kids, and there's also an orphanage there, what's it called, like a baby care center for babies who are orphans. And so we spent all day there. We got to do different things. I got to wash clothes with some of the ladies, which was super cool. To learn how to do that. Obviously over there it's very different. They don't have machines. Everything's by hand, and so it was cool to learn that. And then we were able to watch the babies for a little bit. There was all the mamas that watched the babies. They were able to go to the CPR class. Two of the interns are certified in CPR, so they taught the kids and all the adults how to properly do CPR. And then the rest of us, we were able to watch the babies, and it was just so fun to see them and like take care of them. The next place is Seed International. So Seed International and Dwell actually partner together, kind of for a lot of stuff. So what happens is Dwell comes in and they redo a home for the family in Waluka. And when that's finished, Seed International comes in and they help the family, or kind of the caretaker of the family. They help them like start a business to get some income. So Dwell and Seed International work hand in hand. And Seed International also has a school in there, so we were able to go there one day and just visit the kids. And then we also were able to sit on like a class that they teach about just business and how to start a business and things like that. The last ministry we went to was Soul Hope. And they focus on, so there are these little things, they're called jiggers, and they're little worms that can get into your feet when over there we don't have, a lot of kids and families don't have shoes. And they're just really yucky and just not fun to look at, and they're not fun to have, and they're really uncomfortable. So Soul Hope, it's a clinic, and they focus on taking out these jiggers in these like little kids' feet. So we were able to go with them one day and help, and we went to this preschool and just sat with the kids. We played with them while they were reading, or we sat with them while they were getting it out, and that experience was just crazy because it just really shows you how much they don't have, how much you have, and even things like shoes. Like I'm now so grateful for it. It's just like they don't have them, and they get these really yucky worms, throwing live things in their feet, and it was just a hard day to watch and just really crazy to experience. The other thing we did while we were there was we did a kids camp for the kids in Waluka. So after school, like 3 times a week, they'd come to the community center, and we would teach them dance, singing, and theater. And at the end of the month, we performed a play, or the kids performed a play for the community. So we taught them. I was one of the dance teachers, so I taught them how to dance. We all kind of got split up into different things. So these are just some pictures of us doing that. This is probably my favorite thing that we did when we were there. Just got so close to the kids. We spent a whole month with them. So we got super close, and it was really cool to see how excited they were. This is not something that they get to do a lot. So they were super excited. We were super excited. Everything is always just like on cloud 9, so happy. So yeah, these are some pictures of the kids and us with the kid. That one picture of me, I'm holding that little girl. Well, there's a picture of my friend holding the baby right there. Then the next picture, that's me holding a girl with a headband. Her name is Karen, and Karen is just my favorite. She was just the sweetest little girl. And all of them are just like the best. They're just kids, and we're so happy to be there, and we just had so much fun. We performed a play it was called Don't Be a Chicken, and it was about this girl named Faith who went to the village on holiday to visit her grandma, and while she was there, she forgot to feed the chickens, her grandma's chickens, so the chickens escaped from the coop, and they started like free ranging, and 2 of the chickens, their days were nugget and scrambles. They go along. Faith is like in the play really struggling. She's super stressed about school and anxious. And so they kind of go on like a journey, and they run into these other animals, and they just kind of Faith learns like through these chickens and the other animals, like how God is just there for you, and how even if you're nervous and anxious about something, like God has a plan for you, and God has you. And so they all performed that, and they were chickens and elephants and giraffes, and it was just so fun, and it was a fun day when they were able to perform it for the community. And then these are just some pictures that I have of us there, and my birthday was actually while I was in Uganda. I turned 19. So Miss Mary, Miss Lori, and all of my other friends that were there, they set up like a little birthday dinner for me, and they actually made my grandma, every year for my birthday, she makes me this like casserole that I love, and somehow Lori found out about it. And so she had the kitchen that we were staying, she had to recreate it for me. So that was nice, because I felt kind of like I was home a little bit, and this is just some other pictures of us and just some places that we were. But when I was there, at the beginning of my trip, it was obviously just a big culture shock for me. I've never been out of the country before. I've only ever been in America, so it was the first place I ever had been. And obviously it was significantly different than where I'm from. And so the first day that we went to the village, we got split up into groups, and we got people walked us around and kind of gave us a tour of the village. And the first house I went into, her name was Susan, and I walked into Susan's house. Susan's super nice, she was so happy we were there. And I walked in and I was looking around, and I was like, in my mind I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for Dwell to get to this house and like we do it for her. Well, then I realized that Dwell had already been at the house, and they already had done it for her. And I was just like, oh my God, because Dwell is not, they're not like a fixer-upper. It's not like they're making it look super pretty and like brand new. They're just making it safe for these families. And so when I realized that, I realized that even after Dwell had been there and made the house safe, like it's still just, it's a third world country. It's just different over there. And then when I went to a house that Dwell hadn't gone to, it was just like, it's really emotional for me. I was just couldn't believe it, and just crazy. And the beginning of the month, I just was really struggling with the thought of like, how can these families and these people like have nothing, like just nothing, and be so like full of the Lord. Like they are the happiest people I've ever met. They're so hospitable. They're so proud of where they're from. And I was like, where I'm from, we have all these amazing things, and it's sometimes can be harder for us over here to, we can get distracted and stuff. And at the end of the month, it just made a lot of sense. I was like, they have no distractions over there. All they have is their faith. All they have is like the Lord to lean on, which just makes sense. Not that we're not happy people, because we are, but we have lots of things over here. We have cell phones and, just the world's different over here, and we have lots of distractions, especially for people my age. And over there, they don't have that. They only have their faith to lean on. So that's probably the biggest thing that I learned over there, is just they have nothing but the Lord to believe in. And without that, they literally have nothing. I mean, they have these like cement houses that aren't very nice, and these bathrooms that aren't bathrooms, and like they just don't have that stuff, So it was a really cool experience. I was just so blessed that I was able to go, and I've obviously heard stories of my Nana and Papa being over there in Nigeria, and my grandma growing up in Nigeria, so I've always wanted to go. It's something I've always wanted to do, so I'm just super happy that I was able to do it so young, and it was just the best experience of my life, and I am definitely hoping that I can go back. So yeah, that was just my trip. Yeah.
I just was wondering, so a house that Dwell hadn't been to, can you tell us what that, is it a dirt floor, no running water, no electricity,
Yeah.
and then Dwell does their thing, and now what does it look like?
So all the houses are very similar. Even if Dwell has gotten to a house, they all are similar still. They're not like mud huts. They're these like cement. They're very cold. Like they're these cement, just like blocks basically that we live in, and super tiny. The beds are not good, and everything's just dirty. It's just like how it is over there. So before Dwell would get to a house, they don't have water. Well, actually, Dwell came in. What Miss Mary decided to do is they just put water systems in around the community. So everyone now has clean water. That was like the first thing she did. She was like, I don't want to. It's going to take a while for her to get to all these houses, So she was like, I don't want to have a few houses have this clean water and the rest of the houses don't. So she just put clean water throughout the whole community. That's what they did. So everyone now has a water system. But before we get to it, they don't have doors, they don't have, it's everything cement, like Dwell will put like some carpet in there, like something, they just do things to make it safer and like more comfortable for these families. So there are a lot of like, there's a lot of like theft, like the first house I was at, Susan, the night before, people tried to break into her house. And they couldn't because she had doors now for that Dwell had put in. So just things like that. Dwell is trying to get to like kitchens and redo some kitchens now, and they've really been focusing on like the living area of these homes, and then the bathrooms. The bathrooms are like, it was the craziest thing I've seen. It's like they're obviously not toilets. They're called squatty potties, and they're just like holes in the ground. Sometimes they're not even holes. Sometimes it's just like the cement floor, and it's just what the family has. And Dwell will come in and put a real toilet and make, it's like an outhouse. It's still an outhouse, but it's like a nice outhouse. It's like, it's like something that you can even be fine using. And so yeah, it's just like, they do a little bit of just like fixing up to make it just more comfortable. Like, yeah, they don't have doors. A lot of homes I went into, they do like curtains, like little thin like drapes, just to kind of, the drapes weren't even doing anything for these families. They just had them there to look like they had like a door, like a shelter from inside and outside the home. But there's a lot of babies in the village, which, babies and kids walking all around by themselves, which for me, over there is very normal, but for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like all these babies, like I was trying to like round the wall, and like I was like, where, for them it's very normal over there, but they just have a lot of, kids that need more stuff, so, yeah, things like that, just doors in the water, and some carpet. They'll get nicer mattresses for them, and sometimes have them possibly just fall apart, so they'll just fix the houses too. So, yeah.
You often hear of civil wars and terrorism in Africa. Were you aware of any threat to these people?
So where we were, there really wasn't much of like a threat of anything. Right before we left, actually, there was an Ebola outbreak in Congo, which Uganda is right by the Congo. And so a few people from Uganda had been in the Congo, came back, and had given it to some people in Uganda. So there wasn't a threat like that, but there was definitely like, Ebola is a very deadly disease. And over here, it was like all over the news over here, like 2 weeks before I was supposed to go. So, it was kind of scary. We didn't really know, what was going to happen, and like, if we were going to be allowed to go. We didn't know if we went. If no one was scared about us getting Ebola, where I was in Uganda, like I said, like, I'm primarily in this village and in this town, and this town, like, they don't have a lot of money, so they're not going anywhere. Like, they're not leaving Jinja, they're not leaving Walukuba, and no one's coming to see that. Like, no one's coming to Walukuba. Like, it's just not, it's like not really like that. So we weren't really nervous about getting it. We were nervous about if we were going to be let back in the United States, because it was a big thing over here. Like, it was all over the news, like the first 2 weeks before we left. But no, there was no threat of like dangerous people or anything like that where I was in Uganda. Any more questions or?
How hot was it over there?
It was like what it is here in the summer. It actually wasn't that hot. It was like 80s, 90s. I mean, it was hot for sure, but it wasn't anything I wasn't used to from just the summers here in Michigan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You said they didn't have doors. Did they have windows?
No, no windows. They'll have doors, and then it's just basically just like literally cement all the way around the block. They'll have like a few doors though, so there'll be like a door in, and then like a little room, and there'll be a door in that room. So there's a few different ways. There's a few different doors, but no windows. Maybe a few of them had like not windows like that. Maybe a few had like, I don't even know how you would even describe it. Just like little like garage type door things, but not really, no.
Was there any kind of wild animals?
No, not really much. So we actually were able to go on a safari while we were there. We, like a little weekend safari where we like kind of surprised us and let us do that. So I did see wild animals, but we had to take like a 7-hour road trip to the safari. So where I was in Uganda, there were no wild animals.
Snakes?
There were maybe snakes. I don't think I saw any snakes, but I mean, animals like that are gonna be everywhere there. But no, there were no like elephants or like lions, anything like that where I was. Yeah, that would have been cool. But no, yeah.
So it's always dark in those little houses then, or?
Yeah, it can be pretty dark. A lot of times during the day, it will be brighter because, especially when we were there, the families would just be, they always knew that what days we were coming and we were there. So when we were there, a lot of times the doors would be open, just kind of for us to come in and talk to them. So the natural light, it gets in the house pretty well, but yeah, like there might be like some little like fixture thing, but they're pretty dim in there for sure, especially at night. They're dark for sure.
Electric light fixture? They have electricity or oil
I think
lamps
it's the
or?
batteries, yeah, it's not, nothing that they have is like we have here. Like it's not, even if it is a type of electric, like it's nothing like this electricity or anything that we have, but.
What about the insects if they have the doors open all the time?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of times I would go to a home and sit there. A lot of times this home smell, not great. So we'd sit down, and of course, didn't bother any of us. You start talking to people and you forget about how it smells. But there'd be flies everywhere. I was like constantly like shooting flies on my face, and their things crawling on the floor. But for them over there, they are so prone to that. That's very normal for them. So it doesn't bother them, not really affected by that. The mosquitoes over there do have malaria. So malaria can be a very deadly disease, especially for, like I had malaria medicine that I took, and if I had gotten malaria while I was there, it just would have been different. Like my immune system is different than their immune system. And so, you know, we actually, her name is Anna, I don't know if she's in one of these, she is in one of these pictures, but one day we were in the village and Anna looked in the woods, she saw one of the ladies like throwing up a lot, like really bad. And then we just got up and looked at her face and came back and she was acting normal. She like came up to Anna and Anna started like freaking out, and of course, because we were a little bit on edge because of the whole Ebola stuff. So Anna went to Lori and was like, she is sick. But of course, she's not going to go, I don't remember who it was, what her name was, but listen, she's not going to go to the doctor. She doesn't have money to go to the clinic. She's not going to go, and she probably can't even get there even if she wanted to. So she wasn't going to say anything. She was just talking it out. But Anna saw it, and one of the Dwell members took her to the clinic, and obviously Dwell covers for that stuff and pays for them. And she ended up having malaria. So they got medicine for her and kind of catched it before it got really bad. But I kind of forgot what I was saying. But yeah.
Did you sleep under tents, mosquito tents?
Yeah, I slept where I stayed was, I stayed in a little cottage, very Americanized, it's where Lori stays, and we had beds, but we had mosquito nets like around them. They're just little, nets.
How did the women cook? In the house or outside of the house?
Kind of both. So it would just depend on the structure of that house. A lot of times it would be outside. So it would be the house, and you walk out, and there'd be still kind of a covering, but you'd be outside, and there'd be little pots and things that they were able to cook with. A lot of times they cook together, just kind of out in the open too. So it's very out in the open. They just kind of cook it right there. They have little hot plates and stuff that cook their food.
Did they have animal visits come in when their doors are open?
Not really. Just insects and stuff I would see, but no other animal. No.
Didn't they have cats and dogs there?
They have dogs. Dogs didn't come into the houses a lot, but one of our kids camp, we were at the community center, that's where we would do it, and there were 2 stray dogs that always were there. We named them, actually, we named them GoPro and Tripod, I don't know why. But both of them were missing a leg. Both the dogs, there's a stray dog. So there are stray dogs, no cats, I don't think. Just stray dogs, but they never really would come to the home. They would just kind of stay out there. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm gonna hand it
Do you
back.
have a video?
I don't. I thought I did, and it's not working.